I'm going to call you by your business name first of all, Bo and Brady, and welcome to episode 4. 4 down. Many more to come. I'm so happy to have you both here today. I know that we've had it in the diary for a little while. You guys have been positively busy, which is amazing news. Really happy with that. So yeah, episode 4, loads to speak about today, especially around you guys as female founders, solopreneurs, all of these amazing words that belong to you. So I will kick it off with a nice intro about who you are and how you became Bo and Brady with your business today, please.
Okay. So basically my experience, I have got almost 20 years experience now working across men's, women's, kids, with lots of different retailers, suppliers, manufacturers, brands, startup brands. And then it was at a company that I met Bo, and we just instantly connected. And I honestly felt like I'd almost found a family member. Like we just were so close straight away. And, you know, I feel like when you meet your people, that's kind of like, you can just do so much like good work together. And it's just, you know, another really great relationship.
Yeah, we hit it off straight away. And I remember the first day Amie came in, and we were supposed to be working. We had briefs in and out like all the time. We were busy in that studio, and me and Amie, we just were like that straight away. We're just chatting all day. It was great, and we just really hit it off. And then I initially came from like working and doing print designs for home, so worked a lot with John Lewis, a lot of design studios independently, and did upholstery fabric. So initially that's where I first started after I graduated, and then I loved home, but I then went into a completely different avenue, and then I did a little bit of freelance. Didn't quite work, so I thought, okay, let's give something else a go. And then I did packaging. Wasn't for me. I gave it a good go, but I went into packaging. But this was still in the kind of fashion realm. This was for soft accessories and leather goods. But I still had an element of like graphic design in there. And then I went into more packaging, and then eventually I ended up in fashion. And I just loved how fast paced it was. Sometimes it would be crazy busy, but a lot of the time, you know, it's working on kids and working on men's, working on women's wear. It was so broad, and it was such a variety. One week, like one day wouldn't be the same to the next. It was so much fun. And then that's eventually how I met Amie. So I was so thankful that I actually went to that design studio to work there, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have met Amie, and we wouldn't be here today.
Wow.
Gosh, I can't imagine that.
Yeah, really nice. Just for everybody listening as well, what a bit of a backstory, which maybe I should have started with. I know Amie from many moons ago, and we've actually not spoken in so long, but of course you keep in touch on a kind of a business platform we know through LinkedIn and stuff like that. But I met Amie years ago at Boohoo, plus 10 years ago, isn't it? Like, must be.
Yeah,
really long time ago in the distant memory. Many crazy trips to China we had as well. So I can kind of like second when you guys say, you know, how important it is to have your person at work, because it's where you are, like 90% of the time you spend a hell of a lot of time at work. So to have somebody that you bounce ideas off creatively, which is super important, but somebody that you have a bit of a confidant with as well, and you feel a bit safe, I think it's super important. So really nice to hear that side of it. And like I say, I can somewhat relate to that. But I'm only meeting you for the first time today, and I can already feel like a nice positive energy. So I get that link to talk about. So where you met, kind of a little bit about your history. So how and where did you decide that you would go out on your own and do what you're doing today? How did that come about?
Oh, so we basically wanted to have a little bit more time at home, have a little bit more flexibility that sometimes maybe the corporate world can't fully offer. And we thought we'd take the plunge and we'd do it together. And honestly, we've come leaps and bounds. There's so much to think about though when you're, running your own business. Having to think about the finances and the accounts and the website and actually getting the work as well. We've worked really hard on, constantly messaging, and trying to get that work. And we thought, right, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it together, because we're a strong united front, I think. And we've tackled it. We keep tackling it. We learn new things every day. I mean, what do you think, Amie? I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think, we had like several conversations about what we wanted, and I feel like in a lot of companies you can kind of get stuck at your desk, and you'll kind of just become a machine almost, and you're just firing work out. And we like strongly believe like time away from the desk is as important as at it. And we make sure we go out on daily walks, and actually kind of you can get your best ideas when you're kind of out and about, instead of just trying to force it. And just to kind of keep that movement going, and just having it's better for your mental health, and it's just that kind of lifestyle which we kind of like wanted, instead of just that treadmill as such.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like you speak about how you can stay at your desk and get unmotivated and everything like that, and I think that's a really important topic to bring up, because as creatives, you don't gain creativity by sitting and looking at a screen. That's for sure. Like we can all kind of really champion that statement. How do you guys navigate kind of keeping motivated on a daily basis? Do you who motivates who more? Is there that kind of dynamic between you, or do you both have like your moments of because there is frustration? Like, I want this to be kind of as honest as possible. Yes, it's amazing that you've come together and joined forces. You understand each other's strengths, and that's where you've put this skill set to play, to come out and be this amazing company that you now both run and manage and are doing successfully with, which is amazing. However, in the background, there's days where you get creative block. Motivation is at an all-time low, and we're just human. So how does that look for you? What do you do to kind of keep each other where you need to be?
We often have a call every morning, and then some we're human, like you say. There's going to be days when I'm feeling a little bit low, or I'm not feeling as creative, and there's going to be days where Amy's not feeling her mojo. And the biggest thing for us that's so important is that we boost each other up. We're there for each other, not only as partners, but we're together as a team, we're together as a friendship, and also as a family as well. I see Amie as my sister, and if there's ever a day where she's feeling low, it's like, right, and we have a motivation talk in the morning. We make a plan, make a structure, and we lift each other up, and vice versa. If I'm having a bad day, which it does happen, it's quite often, Amy's there to pick me up as well, and we are a team, we are a front. And I think one thing to remember is that running a business, it's not all what it's painted out to be. There are stressful days, and as long as you've got someone there to keep you on track, keep you motivated, it's what keeps you going, it's what keeps the cogs turning, and in result you get better results from that as a business as well.
I think that's super true. I can kind of second that, because I work on my own now, and the independence, the shaping your day as you want is great. However, that imposter syndrome, am I doing the right thing? money isn't where it needs to be right now. All those things that cross your mind and get you super stressed out, whether it's a business partner, your partner in life, friends, family, everybody needs their own community to kind of sound off and be like, having a crap day, help me out, whatever it looks like, a moan, a cry even. I'm a big crier. Believe in a good cry.
Definitely.
So whatever it is to kind of release that built up stress, I think the fact that we talk about it and realize that it is there and we're not just machines and we get on with it and everything's like you say, everything isn't rosy. It's great. We can still be successful but have wobbly moments. And I think that's what's nice about women. We're not afraid to say that either. You know, we're really kind of proud to wear that. Like, you know, I've had a bit of a bad day. I've had a bad week even, because that happens, doesn't it? You know, so
absolutely. Being completely transparent as well, because work can actually affect everything. It can affect your friendships, it can affect your relationships. You know, the more transparent you are about where you're at and how you're feeling, the better it is. Because if you hold it all in, it's not going to get you anywhere, because people are going to be confused. Why are you feeling this way? Why are you acting this way, maybe? But the more honest you are, the more transparent you are, people have a better understanding and can perhaps maybe sympathize with that. Be like, okay, maybe that there's been a bad day. Okay, I kind of get it. And you have your good days, you have your bad days. But as an industry as well, it's really hard, especially I'd say in fashion. It's fast paced, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of competition, and that can bog you down. Like you mentioned earlier about the imposter syndrome, that's real, and I don't think a lot of people do actually talk about it. I think there's a little bit of a stigma there, where it's like, maybe if you do talk about it, you know, maybe you feel it, all of these feelings, maybe you're seen as maybe weak, or you can't cope with it, you're not quick enough, and that's so wrong. You know, Bo and Brady, me and Amie, we've both built this thing to be, you know, healthy. It's everything to us. Like, it's one of our biggest principles. Getting out for a walk a day, the impact it has on your mental health is you wouldn't even believe how much clearer you can think just by going on a walk, getting out. It makes everything so much clearer. And you know, me and Amie have both had conversations where we both feel the same way, and that's what we wanted to really incorporate with Bo and Brady. We want to be healthy, want to be happy, and in turn we produce better work because we're feeling that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's it. Like, when you're in a good place, it has a domino effect, doesn't it? And likewise, when you're not, that also has a domino effect. So it's there having each other to be like, okay, we're going to stop this domino. If we're using that analogy, it's like, right, okay, it stops here, and we're going to go back a few paces. So yeah, I think that's great. So we've kind of talked about what keeps you motivated, and evidently that's each other. Open, honest conversations, picking each other up, getting each other kind of on track. Which is brilliant. I think having that relationship, that connection to do that is paramount to building the business that you have today and where you want to go exactly with Bo and Brady. So let's talk a little bit more about the brand, like behind the brand. What was your idea when you came into it together? Like, who was your customer? What were you going to do? And the strengths that you both have to portray the brand that you have today. So can you tell me a bit more about that?
Amie, would you like to go?
Amie, take the seat.
I feel like we had a lot of different ideas on, you know, how we wanted to be like perceived in the industry. And what's brilliant is, you know, when actually lots of our projects, you know, one of us will have an idea, and like Bo says, we'll kind of have a chat every morning, and then the other one will take the idea even further. And what I find, like, a lot of our work just kind of develops and grows to, you know I personally couldn't have got to the end on my own. Without Bo, I couldn't do this. So I feel like we had lots of different ideas bouncing around. We did lots of research, but then we started to kind of get a clear vision of what we wanted it to look like. And the website Bo built and spent so much time on, and we've had so much positive feedback on, and that for me and for both of us, it's we just love the website. We think the whole aesthetic of it is perfect, and it links back to our Instagram, which is just beautiful. And yeah, we just kind of we feel really like proud of that, and that was definitely like a kind of proud moment of kind of cementing our name out there together, and our kind of future and our plans of where we kind of see ourselves. So yeah, I've kind of wandered off a little bit, but
it's our customers who we're trying to base it to as well. We're trying to approach, buyers and studios that need a little bit of a helping hand. Maybe they're short of a collection, or even, established companies. We've worked with some great names already, and we're still having the drive to keep producing for these amazing, like, startups. They're great, and big companies, they're also great, and who we're trying to attract is absolutely fundamental. And I think one of the biggest things is how we are perceived. As Amie says, we work so hard on the socials and making sure that what we post is relevant and on trend, and also looking beautiful as well, because we spend a lot of time on our socials. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I will spend evenings on social media just trying to get inspiration. What can we post next? What are our competitors posting? So what can we do on their level, if not better? And it's always striving to get the best result. And I think a big part of that is how it all looks, the layout of it is quite complex, because we both work on the socials. We both are really big on like LinkedIn and Instagram, and it's how we've met a lot of amazing people through those platforms. But the thing is, it's like you stick out with how you look on Instagram. It's so important. If your page isn't up to scratch, if it's not even, if it's not all piecing together and it's not looking the same, it's going to look a little bit uneven, and people can drift their attention so quickly. So one of the biggest things for Bo Brady is that how we send out our portfolios and how we speak to people as well when we're trying to approach them, maybe for new business, is how do we separate ourselves from our competitors? Really friendly attitude, really like getting personal with people as well. We're not just trying to do a bit of cold calling for a bit of business. We want to know about your business. We want to do the research. We want to, look into the trends and see what's relevant to you and how your company looks. So, the biggest things for us is like how we are perceived on, social media in general, because it's probably what actually gets us a job at the end of the day.
Yeah, completely. Like you say there, like having that USP, your own handwriting that sets you aside from competitors, that's a constant.
Yeah.
Because you've got your competitors today, but tomorrow there's another brand coming up on the outside. So it's keeping relevant, but there's also a lot to be said for, I think, some things that we touched on at the start of, being a bit kind to yourself and not being aggressively trying to keep up, because that's where it then becomes this chase, cat and mouse kind of effect. So I think I liked what you said about being personable and having that friendly exterior of, okay, what does this buyer or that brand or that design house, what are they missing that we can bring and fill that niche with intent? And I think that's the difference between somebody's doing that, let's fill that gap. And I think that's what hearing your story today, and it resonates with me, because I think having that honest approach, that's your USP.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that is, like, because that is hard to find. There's so many people just out there to make quick, get it done, let's turn over X amount, so let's do this, that, or the other. But when you take the time to say, actually, we care about who we work with, we can pick and choose, we want to pick and choose is the most important thing. So I think having that attitude is unique in itself.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, that's always been our thing, hasn't it, actually, from the start, though? Like we've always said, we are both very honest, genuine, friendly people, and within many industries it's really hard to find that, and we just believe that's so important, and we really kind of, it's one of the things that is really, really important to us.
Yeah, you have to live by what your intent is, because saying that, I've worked for lots of big corporate companies as well, and you go in with, I'm going to put my own little stamp on things. I can see this through, I can see that through. And I've worked for some amazing companies, I really have. However, after a little while, you realize that you have a certain speech and you're using words and you're like, oh no, I'm becoming that person. That isn't right. That isn't what I wanted to do. That isn't what I set out with the intent. But these corporate words and these taglines and buzzwords, and I'm like, oh no, I've turned into that person. So hands up, been there, done that. But when you're in the driving seat and you have complete creative ambition and you can set the rules as such, it is nice to very much have that momentum. So one thing I'd love to know, actually, before we move on to the next question that I had, with your ambition as your design house and everything you do, I've looked at your website, of course, I've looked at your other socials. You do quite a lot on kids wear. Are you exclusively kids? You tell me about that. Are you women's, men's? Like how do you kind of navigate what you're working towards?
We cover everything, don't we, Amie? It's like we've worked on some great projects already. I know it's very heavy on kids at the minute, but that can change all the time. We can't obviously post some of the projects we've done out of confidentiality until the ranges have been launched. But we are so excited to actually get that content to post what we have done, because we've covered all sorts. We've recently done this amazing sportswear brand for men, and we cannot wait until we get the videos out so we can actually post it on our socials. But we cover everything. I think we try, and every portfolio we send out as well, this goes back to the previous question about who we contact, because we personally tailor each portfolio to whoever we're targeting. So like you said, Claire, previously, on sending out these messages and like reaching out to people and it being that personal touch. Say we wanted to work with a women's wear brand, we'll do the research on their website, we'll see what's missing, what we can offer, and then we'll do a whole portfolio trend research and we will offer that to them personally. We're not guaranteed the work, but at least then hopefully we're actually setting a really good impression on the work we've already done and paid. So when it is, we can offer you like a whole collection. So we work on women's wear, men's wear, kids wear, athletic wear. The list goes on, really. We've just done a summer project, haven't we, Amie?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, lovely, amazing prints those done. And it makes it more interesting because we're looking at lots of different product area and it's nothing really stays the same. And I think being freelance, it's something that's always have to do. You have to adapt to whatever market you're looking at. And we've had so much good feedback. Like Bo mentioned, when we focus on a specific company, more often than not, we will get offered the work. So it's definitely, we've had the results from that. So it's great. Yeah.
No, I think that's really good. And that's something that I think anybody listening again is super keen that, you do have this expansive opportunity for buyers, for in-house design, for, whoever it is that your reach can go to. So it's good to, make that awareness out there as well, that you do have this multifaceted kind of portfolio that you're able to offer out. Cool. So next question. Actually, this is kind of twofold. So what has been your proudest moment as a brand so far?
I mean, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we, Bo? And I mean, for me, I think really was launching the website was a real turning point, because, like I say, there was lots of work up to that point, and then when we kind of finally got there, and it was all like beautiful and finished off, you know, I feel like that was definitely a turning point for us both, and like I say, we had so much positive feedback from it. So I think that's definitely up there. What about you, Bo?
I think, yeah, that was definitely, launching the website was huge for us because like Amie said, we got so much amazing feedback, and it was such a breath of fresh air, because I definitely got to a point of like massive imposter syndrome whilst doing that website. There were so many loopholes that I didn't know. I've never done a website before, so I was like, it probably took a little bit longer than I wanted it to. It took about a month to make, but I was like, it's got to be right. And we had talks every day of what we wanted it to look like, and it was a little bit of OCD in there as well.
I can imagine.
Way, so it's taken a bit longer. But so once that launched, that was definitely up there. I agree with Amie there. And then I'd say when we first got our gig as well, our first project officially as a freelance team, I actually remember the moment we got it, and me and Amie had the call. It went really well. We got the work. It was all guaranteed. It was all going to be set. We had the days structured. And then I said to Amie after the call, I said, "Do we have another call quickly?" And then we put the phone down. We were very professional. And then we got on to the phone to each other. We did a little happy dance. We were like, "We did it!" It was so good. And it was that feeling of like, we've done it. This is our first big thing for us both, and we were so excited. And I loved that feeling of feeling like we've not necessarily made it, but we have made it. This is a big, milestone for us. It's our first gig. Like, let's go. And we absolutely aced that project, and we did really well. And we got great feedback from it, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And now we're just waiting for this launch to happen and all of the photos to come with it. So yeah, we're eagerly waiting. But yeah, that was definitely up there as well.
Oh, that's cool. And I love the way you say we made it. Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
And you continue to do it. I think that's another thing that we're not very good at, is like celebrating ourselves, because everything is big. It's massive. Like, you did your own website. You have to do them pitching calls. You have to do the storytelling. You have to be a salesperson. You have to be the business person. You have to set your prices. All of that in any normal business is about 20 people. It's just the two of you. Do you know what I mean? So you can't take away that first step. Is like, it's everything, isn't it? Because from there on, you can go up. Of course, things might happen, but you're on the step. You're in the right direction. So it's amazing, and I think it's so important to just stop and take stock sometimes of how far you've come. Yes, wherever you want to go, but how far you've come, because it's everything. Like, without where you are right now, you don't know where to go to next. So I think it's everything. I can't really think of another way of putting it, but it's so important to just celebrate as and when and however often you can. So I really champion that. I think the happy dances is something that I agree with. I'd have probably squealed. That leading on from that, the near future, because I'm a strong believer of, years ago when you used to be sat in a room and you were being interrogated, interviewed, however you want to put it. It was like, where do you want to be in 5 years? And you were like the 21-year-old yourself. You're like, I've not got a clue what I'm doing tomorrow. So like those questions, like, they irk me. I'm like, oh God. So I want to put it in a different way. In the near future, what are your goals and aspirations as a brand? What does that look like?
So I think that our biggest thing is to continue as we are, and continue to attract some really amazing companies and amazing people to work with, because like Bo says, we flourish even more, and we love, you know, creating these amazing collections for people and helping them develop, you know, their brands, whether it's a startup, whether it's a retailer, and just to kind of keep building our relationship together as well. You know, like we have like so much love and trust for each other to just kind of really grow that even further. And you know, travel, you know, we've got our sights set on going to Paris this year to go to PV and, you know, do the shops and, you know, but kind of make a week of it. You know, obviously we've all been to PV and all the rest of it, but you have to turn it around in like a day and you're dead on your feet. You know, we're going to go to the vintage markets in Paris. We're going to go to some really creative things and like soak it up and enjoy it. I think that's probably our biggest thing. We're on this journey together. Why kill ourselves doing it? You know, we want to enjoy it, you know, and in doing that, we will pick up even more things. We'll be healthier, you know. So,
it's so true. And I think, like you say, just taking stock of, you know, what's around you, because you can often be doing something at 100 miles an hour and it's going at that speed, trying to collate all the information along the way is really hard. So even what I really miss actually about all them sorts of trips is just sitting back and actually people watching, because how culturally people wear things, how people carry themselves, you know, that styling, it's something like that that can be like, that's so inspirational. I love the way they've done that. Let's take that and bring it to another level. So I think it is important to kind of slow down and, like you say, important to do the trade shows and all the things that kind of, not a tick box, but you know what I mean? Like those are the things we must do.
Yeah,
you know
they're kind of expected, aren't they?
Exactly. Better word. Thank you. The expectations, but taking stock of how people are and how people, you know, express themselves. I think there's a hell of a lot that can be taken from that as well. So
it's like when Fashion Week's on, I actually prefer, instead of looking at the catwalks, obviously look at the catwalks, but I actually love the street style. I want to see what people are wearing at these events. And if, you know, when me and Amie actually get to PV in Paris, we'll be able to people watch, but also get to see what everyone's wearing, what colors are they wearing, like how are they layering, all the research that we've, you know, accumulated, it's actually happening. So obviously we're ahead in fashion, so all the research we've looked into, it's like, oh, it's actually happening. This is what people are actually wearing. We've researched actually quite well, and seeing that, and it's so exciting. It's so vibrant, and seeing all of the personalities as well. It's fantastic. Get such a buzz from it. So if we're able to do that, go traveling. We've even had talks of going to Ibiza as well, because of all of the resort and all of the beach wear, all of what are people wearing by the pool or going to, like, you know, the parties. Absolutely gorgeous. Amie went to Ibiza and she sent all of these amazing images of all of these markets that she'd been to. And Amie, it was gorgeous, wasn't it? All of the colour.
Yeah.
It just like cheers you on it. Like
it does. It feeds the creative inside of you, because like we were saying before, you know, you can sit there and you can be kind of lost in you know, a computer, literally just like this bright light shining back at you, like, oh God, I can't think anymore, I need to get out. And it's just that it kind of feeds. And for me, it's kind of like a recollection again of, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I got into this industry, and this is what I love. Because you've got to do all the other parts, and there's no getting away from that, like we said. But equally, when you just take stock of the reason why we're all in some sort of part of the creative industry, I think that's definitely a good kind of feeds the soul for where you are.
Absolutely. It's people expressing themselves, and I don't think there's anything purer than that. You know, you're really, in a way, quite vulnerable. You're showing your true self. What are you wearing? It's everything that we are. and it's one of the first big impressions, so it's huge. And me and Amie, we, you know, looking to the future as well, we've had conversations where we get so inspired from it, and then we want to create maybe our own brand in the future, you know, really save our pennies and create our own company that sells clothes. And it's like, but what do we sell? We've got so much choice of where we could go, so many avenues we can go down. And we've had talks about, you know, setting our own clothing lineup, and it would be amazing. We love what we produce for people, but we're also like, oh, but we can do this for ourselves, and like the options there. And we've had talks about, we get really excited about it, and you know, the possibilities, honestly, they're just endless.
Yeah, they're endless. They are, and I think it's really to have that consistent like aspiration of where we could go next, where could we take that, it's what keeps you going, isn't it? And like you say, we could do this, we could definitely do this, and why the hell not? So yeah, we might be sat here in a couple 6 to 12 months with the launch of something different. Who knows? So watch this space.
Yeah, who knows?
That'd be really good. Just a couple more things to close on. One thing that I would, and I love this question because I think everybody angles it differently. So the younger you, what would you tell yourself, knowing what you know now, you know, when you started out, maybe, I don't know, from whatever age you think, maybe when you started, if you studied to get into fashion, or before, whenever you know, thought was a really kind of an age where you thought, I wish I had that advice that I know now, it's on my side, I have that information. What is that to you?
I think the biggest thing is that you've got to have patience in this industry. A lot of it, you know, it's a tough industry to crack. And when I was younger, it was always fashion. I was always doing little illustrations, always at grandma's house, always drawing on the kitchen table, what's going to be my new next collection. And to actually be in this industry, it's the craziest thing in the world, and I love it so much. But I think the thing that I would probably tell myself would be to be patient and also be extremely kind, because there have been a lot of knockbacks, and yes, it's taken a lot of power and self-love to get through those. I could have easily just been like, no, I'm not dealing with this anymore. But I think the most important thing is like to show resilience, but to also be kind to yourself as well. And just remember that it's not okay to be spoken to in a bad way. It's not okay to be, you know, shouted at. There's been so many occasions where it's like, I don't want to deal with this, but you ride the storm and you then choose to kind of almost buy your freedom. That it's like the biggest thing. It's be kind to yourself, have patience, and you will get eventually to a place where you are so happy and you are so like comfortable within yourself and where you are in life. It will all be worth it, and that requires, I think, a lot of patience.
Yeah, I think that's very beautifully put. Amie, have you got any advice to your younger self?
I mean, I think I would say to really focus on like product areas and companies that I'm personally passionate about, because, you know, as we know, there's so many hours expected to be, you know, for us to put into this job. You know, we're doing it, you know, I've been sat up here working till 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's kind of the norm, isn't it? You know, but if you're very passionate about it, it doesn't feel like work, you know, and you enjoy it more, you kind of flourish, you kind of produce your best work, and in so you'll probably meet your people as well, because, you know, you'll be around like-minded people. So yeah, and like Bo says, patience is the biggest thing. Like, be patient and be kind to yourself, because yeah, like Bo said, it's a tough industry.
It is, and I think you put it so beautifully, and I think it is all these walks of life. It's a short trip. To be really melancholic about it, it's a short trip, so enjoy it. Like we mentioned before, it is what we do 90% of the time is our jobs. We spend more time at work than we do with our families and friends, our chosen friends. So, you know, I think it's so important to to have it feel right. And yeah, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. There's a lot of social pressure. There's a lot of pressure that comes from sometimes family, and then internally in companies as well. So I think at least if we can relieve some of that pressure ourselves, and like we've mentioned, celebrate the wins, you know, take our time, have that patience with ourselves as well as everything else that's going on. I think that's really beautiful advice. And I hope, yeah, that anybody that's listening, whether you're starting out or you're in the midst of your career, it's valid at any point.
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself, be patient. It's okay. It will fall into place.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's amazing advice to take away. The last and one exciting part that I think anybody that's listening that's creative and wants to know about spring summer 24 trends. So I know you're going to share with me some material afterwards, which I'll post on all of my social media, and you'll share, of course. I'll direct everybody in your way as well. But yeah, talk me through just briefly what we should be looking out for this spring summer.
So one of our most recent projects that we worked on and we absolutely loved doing, we called it Brilliant Scholar. And so essentially it's a collegiate trend, but you know, as you know, they're around every year. But what we love about this, there's so much color, so much layering, so much texture, lots of different graphics, lots of different fabrics, and even kind of playing around with hem levels, kind of, you know, combining like say a pleated skirt on one side, it's kind of longer on the other side, just really kind of playing around with it. And, you know, say brands that have done this like particularly well, say Gant, you know, lots of that kind of really traditional look, but adding loads of color in there. Tommy Hilfiger, Carhartt, a brand that we absolutely love, Amie Leo Dore, which is a brand from New York, and we're absolutely obsessed with this brand. Like the way they do their branding, the way their shapes, their fabrics, everything. Palace is a really cool brand as well. They do a lot of skate stuff and they do a lot of collaborations as well. And J.Crew as well for that really kind of clean cut, but again, with lots of color. And we feel like this works across men's, women, and kids. So for women, say, I'm just looking at our mood board, and we've got this really nice metallic skirt, because obviously we're still seeing a lot of metallics about, but then paired back with some really like nice kind of fine knit cardi, a nice kind of simple tee. Lots of different kind of things going on, some nice geos. And then on the menswear, say you've got a really nice varsity jacket with, again, lots of branding, textures within the kind of trousers. So like a really nice chino, but say it's kind of got a textured waffle cord to it, a lot of cut and sew as well. So there's a really nice t-shirt that's kind of been sliced and kind of put back together, which kind of goes back into this kind of you know, what's the word, Bo? That kind of
like it's basically redone.
Dead stock, yeah. I'm using dead stock as well, so it's kind of it's given another life. So it could be vintage and kind of then reworked. And then especially on kids wear, this trend works really fun on kids wear, because there's so much color on there, and you know, you can really have so much fun with kids. And you know, lots of different color clash, print clash, and like I say, lots of layering still, and it's just a really fun trend.
It's great. It's like, it's interesting placement as well. So one of the bigger trends, and what's elevating, what's making designs new, what's making them different, a lot of the time it's placement. I mean, this is what we've seen in nearly every product area that we've covered. It's different placement. It's what's interesting. You know, it could be a simple slogan, which we see a lot of in collegiate trends. But instead of it being in the center, it could be on the shoulder, or we've seen on Amie Leo Dore where they've placed it just like over here, and it's really interesting. It works so well when you see the model photos and you think, oh, why hasn't this been done before? This is what's making it new. Something so simple like that can make a design just so elevated. And you know, kids was really fun on that trend. It was brilliant. It, like Amie says, it's the color clash, it's the layering, it's being really experimental, but also with, you know, men's and women's as well. It can really take it to the next level just by simply like merging graphics, one graphic with the next. That's on one of the CADs that we've done on that project. It's just like, oh, okay, that really works. It's interesting, but it really works, and it's great. We got really experimental with that first project, and we showed that to a lot of clients before we started working with them. Again, great feedback, and it was something different to what they've seen. And yeah, we loved it. It really kind of set the standard, I think, doing that project.
Oh, it sounds amazing. So anyone that's listening wants to see it, so I promise I will share it because it sounds brilliant. I'm desperate to see it. I'm going to check out this designer you've just mentioned as well. Curious to see how and where you've got your inspiration from, and it's always good for me, who, like I said before, I a little bit out of the loop now, so it's great to like feel inspired. And when you talk about metallics and hemlines and all those things that bring me back to, you know, all that excitement of when a range is being built, that's the amazing side. I do miss that. I am absolutely guilty of missing that side of things. So I want to express my extreme gratitude for having you both here today. We've gone through so many topics that we can slice and dice, and I hope that you have enjoyed it first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is
Cool.
great.
Yeah, and everybody that's listening as well, I think there's so much covered from, you know, having your community at work, building a trust with one another, how to build a brand, the business side of it, the ups, the downs, the exciting side of, you know, celebrating wins, like we said, being patient, and finishing on, you know, kind of where it all starts, which is the design side of it, you know. So it's been amazing to kind of go through the journey. Amie, to pick up with you after many years, and Bo, to meet you for the first time, and I'm sure not the last time.
Absolutely,
you guys. So
yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise, and yeah, we'll share all the material afterwards, and I will speak to you both soon.